Hello, I'm Mike Howlett and welcome to the Understanding IBO and PYP Session 2 with me and my little Mike avatar. Okay, so today I'm going to talk to you about the essential elements, what creates our curriculum basically. There are 5 key parts which we feel is very important in our school. You have knowledge at the top, concepts, skills, attitudes, and action. And I'm going to be talking to you about each one of these and why we consider them to be so important to our school. When we think about how the 5 essential elements affect a child's education inside a PYP school, we have to think about how they overlap each other. So I created this 5-sided Venn diagram to kind of show how each of the elements has to overlap with another element in order for us to actually gain this middle section, this ability for the child to become better at the profiles. Now I'm going to go in and actually explain about each of the elements. The first element I'm going to talk about is knowledge. Knowledge is also the first element in the Making It Happen handbook, which is on the website. Though in the handbook, the IB didn't give a number to each one of the essential elements, because they did not want to stipulate that one of the essential elements was more important than the other, which is a picture that hopefully you will see as we go through this presentation. Knowledge is of course very important to a child's education, and it is what we decide as teachers the children need to learn through our curriculum. Our curriculum inside the school is based up of our program of inquiry, our language lessons, math lessons, social studies lessons, sciences, personal, social, physical education, and the arts. Each one of these then has a scope and sequence where we developmentally choose how the child will grow throughout their journey in our school. How we view knowledge in our school is that it is very important to the child's education, and it is also one of the 5 elements. What we do feel, though, is that knowledge needs to be taught to the child in a meaningful way, which is useful and important to their lives. Concepts are like the big idea. When you teach a unit of inquiry, a teacher will pick 2 concepts to guide the unit through. The IB concepts for PYP are form, function, causation, change, connection, responsibility, perspective, which I missed there, and reflection. To give you an example of a key concept and a related concept, if you were in kindergarten and you were doing a unit on friendships, you might pick the key concept of perspective. So to look at different people's perspectives of if you have a disagreement, for example. And then you might look at a related concept in one lesson of opinion, and how one person's opinion might change their view on how they were right in an argument or in a conflict. Another easy way to think about conflicts are that they are different from topics. So if you taught a unit about rainforests, for example, that would be perceived as topic learning. But if you taught a unit through preservation, and in preservation you looked at how to take care of a rainforest, then that would be teaching through a concept. Teaching children skills is a very important part of their education. By having the skills yourself, then you can learn for yourself. It's kind of like the classic, give a man a fish and he'll eat for a day, or teach him how to fish and he can eat for his life. Well, this is basically what these skills are all about. And inside of our school we have, there's different types of skills, and they're called the transdisciplinary skills. And first off, we have the thinking skills. And it's getting children to be familiar with understanding that when you acquire knowledge, that's one type of skill, but then to actually comprehend that knowledge is a more advanced step from just acquiring the knowledge. Being able to apply the knowledge, analyze the knowledge, synthesize the knowledge, evaluate the knowledge, being able to take 2 different people's points of view and being able to understand both sides of the argument, and lastly, metacognition. These are all different skills in terms of how we teach children about thinking. Another good thing to think about here is that when the teachers are planning out their year, they look at the different units of inquiry they're going to do, and they pick from these skills to see which part of which transdisciplinary skill they will do in which unit. The next transdisciplinary skill that we have are social skills, and these come up all the time in the background in the classroom, but you might also have a unit of inquiry which is heavily based on social skills and accepting responsibility, or how to deal with resolving conflicts or cooperating with each other, or how to make a decision in a group, or being able to adopt different roles within a group, are all different social skills which we want the students to learn to be better at throughout their time at our school. The next transdisciplinary skill is communication skills, and these are types of skills that actually come up nearly every day when you're looking at listening and speaking and reading and writing and viewing, and how to present, and different types of non-verbal communication. But again, you might have a unit of inquiry which is going to be based a lot on the fact that they have to do a lot of reading or writing to then present at the end, for example. The next transdisciplinary skill is self-management, and it's giving children the ability to become better at gross and fine motor skills and spatial awareness and organization, and how they can manage their time and make sure that they're working in a safe way, and picking the right choices and picking the right ways to behave, and also thinking about a healthy lifestyle as well. And the last transdisciplinary skill is research skills, and this will come up maybe once or more times a year, where there is some work for the children to do where they need to practice their skills as researchers, and it's helping the children identify that when you are researching, that you need to formulate your questions, and you need to plan and observe and collect data and record and analyze and interpret, and all of these steps will take you towards presenting your research findings at the end. The next element I'm going to talk about is attitudes. Inside a PYP school, we would like the child to develop a certain attitude when they're learning a unit of inquiry. We believe that if a child gets better in an attitude towards a concept, then that will enable them to learn the concept in a much broader perspective. The PYP attitudes are respect, creativity, cooperation, appreciation, curiosity, tolerance, integrity, empathy, confidence, independence, enthusiasm, and commitment. And when a teacher is planning a unit of inquiry, they will pick some attitudes for the class to focus on. So if the unit is about taking care of the planet, it might be to respect things, and it might be to appreciate the world that we're in. It might be empathy towards planet Earth, for example. If it's a unit on the human body, it could be the curiosity of how all the organs work inside of us, or something like that. So we really believe that the attitude can actually help the child understand the unit of inquiry in a more broader perspective. The last element I'm going to talk about is action. Action is basically the process of doing something with the knowledge that you have acquired. So as you go round the essential elements, and you learn to have a different attitude about something, and you learn skills that have helped you to improve your knowledge in a certain subject, the last thing then is the action that you will take from all of this new knowledge that you have learnt. There are different types of action that a child can take inside of the school. Some are created by the teacher, and they're the teacher-initiated actions. And sometimes this can be at the end of a unit of inquiry, where a teacher will give the child a specific task of raising awareness in the school about a certain topic, and the child has to decide how they're going to raise that awareness. Others can be at the end of grade 5 when we have the exhibition. That's all about taking action, and the child deciding on a concept, and then working out how to raise awareness of that. And then the other type of action is the student-initiated action, where we want to really change their mindset. So by doing an action from the knowledge they have learned, we're hoping that will help them really change how they think about that particular knowledge for the rest of their lives. And of course acting without being asked as well, so the child is making the right informed choices, whether that is about how to treat other humans or how to take care of themselves. Some examples of different types of action, if we take a summative task, might include like a science show. If you've been learning about something in science and then you would like to share your knowledge with other people, you might hold a science exhibition where you invite other people along. In the student-initiated action, it could be, I guess, like I said before, acting without being asked. So if you're learning about how to save energy, for example, the child might go home and just start telling you as parents about different ways in which you can save energy around the house by switching off the lights you're not using, for example. It's all of these things that we'd like them to do, these actions that we would like them to, even if they're talking about it, it's still taking action about something which they've learned. So here is a very famous IB picture, and when I looked at the 5-sided Venn diagram that I created to think about the 5 elements, I tried to think about is this Venn diagram that I'm creating actually on the right path towards what the 5 elements are telling us that the children should be learning really inside the school. And then I found this picture, which kind of really was a nice way to sum it up for me. You can see that you have the 5 elements around the outside here, and then of course the middle, the key, is then the profiles inside. And I mean, one interesting question we always get asked is what's the difference between the profiles, for example, and the attitudes? And it's interesting because the attitudes are one of the 5 elements, but it's the attitudes along with everything else that enables then the child to become more of these reflective or principled or a risk taker or more caring, for example. So if the attitude, if you're looking at the child, becoming better in their confidence, for example, and their, let's have a look here, confidence and their independence, then that might make them become a better communicator, for example. Or if you're looking at empathy and respect, then that might make them more caring, for example. So that's one quick, easy way to understand the difference between the attitudes and the profiles. But overall, I thought it was quite a different way, I guess, to look at the picture of the 5 elements and how they help us come to be more like the profiles. So to finish off, I thought I'd come back to this diagram again and have a look at it now we've looked at each one of these bubbles individually. And have a look at, if you look at